Happy Thursday, everybody. It's October 5th, bow hunting season, and Mark is heading into the woods for the afternoon. The temperature is 69 degrees, blue sky is heading our way. That's potentially a really hot day to hunt, and I'm going to show you how to minimally bow hunt. We're not going in there with a ton of stuff. For you newbie bare bow archers, you're going to be surprised at what little I take into the woods. I'm dressed in black shorts right now. See that? That's minimal. Why black? Go look out in the woods. Just stare out in the wilderness for a little while and ask yourself what colors you see. And you'll say, oh, I see green, I see yellow, I see red. And you'll totally ignore the fact that the vast majority of everything you see in the woods is black. You don't need to kill yourself with camo, although I do have camo there. That's what I'll be wearing on top. I will show you the minimal outfit that you can walk in the woods on a hot day, you can walk in the woods on a cold day. It's the same rig. It's like a bug out bag, only it's for hunting. You grab it at noon, and by 1 o'clock, you're in a stand someplace 40 miles away, ready to hunt for the rest of the afternoon. Let's get over to Shabanaw State Forest Preserve. Check in with the rangers. This is the first thing you got to do. And I'm going to step you newbies through what that process often looks like. Doesn't matter what state it's in, what county it's in. It all looks pretty much the same. So see you in a little bit. This is always the coolest part of the year, harvest season in northeastern Illinois. Because you're going to see people carrying all kinds of stuff back and forth. Combines going up and down. I'm seeing that already. Up in northern Illinois, and certainly northeastern Illinois, it's oceans and oceans of corn to be used for high fructose corn syrup, because you can't feed animals all the stuff that we make. It's for other reasons. And the other thing is soybeans. And they've got roughly the same monetary output. They're interchangeable. What one takes out of the soil, the other one puts back in. So I see that they're already starting to pull out all the soybeans. So that's what's getting harvested right now. That's what the deer bulk up on to eat protein. That's what gets them fit and ready for mating season. They come in and they eat the corn next because that's going to be the source of starch. That's what's going to fatten them up and get them ready to survive the winter, in case you're curious. But we got lots of soybeans and lots of corn out here. And it's all starting to come down. It's all dried out. But it just rained last night, so the ground's going to be damp. I hope it's even going to be a little wet. Why? Because there's actually a little chunk of farmland on Shabanaw State Forest Preserve. And I'm going to be walking around the perimeter of it, doing what? Looking for tracks. I'm going to be in that mud, walking through it, trying not to walk in it. I don't want to obliterate it, but it's going to start giving me an idea of what kind of deer are moving in and out. I'll be able to gauge even the size. You'll be able to see if you see a pair of prints and you're not quite sure if you see the dots that represent a buck, that you're not sure if it's a doe, but then you see a couple of smaller footprints following in behind it. Hey, it's a doe because it's got two fawns following it, that kind of thing. Then you start looking around to see if maybe, just maybe, there's a buck that's following them, but you start to get a picture, and it's all a useful time to be out in the woods. And there's more soybeans. We're just waiting for the next co-op farmer to get his turn at the combines to come in and harvest everything. They'll be harvesting night and day right now, especially when the weather's dry like this and they have that window of opportunity to get the best possible produce out of the fields. But I'll be paying attention even as I drive into Shabanaw. I'll be looking along the side of the road for any signs of tracks. That oftentimes a deer is going to sprint all the way over a road, but he's going to land pretty hard on the end then, and you're going to see little traces. It's going to give you an idea of the patterns that they might be following prior to the season starting. It's just a start. Other people that live nearby, they're probably out walking the property around Shabanaw all the time, and they already know where all the trails are. They might have trail cams up for all I know. I don't have the time or the money or the energy to do that. I like it to be a little more challenging. But here we are headed out. Here's another thing that's cool about hunting. The further you get from work and your job, the less you think about it. I find myself already disconnecting and getting ready to connect with just being outside, where my best friend isn't my rangefinder, and it's not a binocular, it's not any of that stuff. It's just your ears. You close your eyes and you just start listening, and you'll find out you can hear a whole lot more about what's going on in the woods than you could possibly see, especially when it gets closer and closer to twilight. Just thinking out loud while I'm getting ready to hunt. It's cool. You guys want to see something cool? This is something you don't see very often that I'm about to show you. Have you ever seen two railroad tracks cross at a right angle and not have a bridge or an overpass? Because that's what you're about to see in 10 seconds coming up here. We have an east-west railroad here, but there's also a north-south one we're about to cross. Check this out. East-west, right there, and right there, north-south. You don't see that every day. Crossing at a right angle, no bridge, no overpass. They have to literally wait turns, that if they come at the same time, only one gets to go through at any given moment. I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere else except right here, northeastern Illinois. We're going to turn right up here at this cell tower. That is Shabanaw State Forest Preserve over there. We're looking at the northeast corner, and that's where I'm going to be hunting. We have to circle around to the south side. That's where the ranger's office is, and I'll tell you more about that when we get there. This is like white-tailed deer heaven, guys. They got a lake over there made from a small river getting dammed up and turning into a reservoir. That's Shabanaw Lake. You got protein on this side, just coming into ripening and ready for harvest. That's all your soybean. You've got starch over on this side, you got corn, and you got nothing but dirt roads. So it's fairly low traffic. Low traffic, huge water supply, protein on one side, starch on the other. Like I said, it's white-tailed deer heaven. When I come out of the woods tonight, I will see them in the ditches all along here. They're not stupid. They know that if they go onto the hunting grounds, somebody's gonna get them. So they stay outside until we have to leave. And then they wave goodbye to us. Bye. See you tomorrow, same time. That's what it feels like sometimes. Okay, this is a little niche. This is where I'm going to come back and hunt, I hope. I hope I don't see any cars there, but because it is Thursday afternoon, I'm hoping everybody's going to come out on the weekend. We see nice green corn. They may want that. They're going to come in and want to eat that before it gets too dried and hard. But if you look here at Boone and University, that's where I'm going to be going. Nobody's there. Yay. But first we got to go to the ranger station. Why? This is for the newbies. When you're hunting on public land, there's a couple of different ways they make it available to multiple hunters. There's the kind where you have to sign in and sign out. And there's the kind where you can just get a sign-in sheet that you leave on the dash of your vehicles. We'll talk about that one some other day. What we have right now is the kind you have to sign in and out of. Where do you do that? You have to find typically the ranger's office. It's going to be a forest preserve. Every forest preserve has a ranger's house, a ranger's office. At the front of the office is a porch. In the porch is a table. On the table is a sign-in sheet. And the sign-in sheet allows only a certain number of hunters onto this 11 or 1,800 acre chunk of property that includes some farmland, that includes a lake, that includes meadows, different kinds of forests, and even a creek that's running through there. That's the Shabanaw Creek. You can only have a limited number of hunters. They break that whole area up into about 8 or 9 zones, and then they say only 2 hunters are allowed in this zone at any given moment. 3 are in here, 1 are in here, and you use your own good judgment to decide which zone you think you want to be in. I think that's called Zone B back there. So that's what I'll be looking at on the map. You sign in if there's a free opening on the list. I mean, if the slots are all filled for that zone, you're not getting in that day. Sorry, you didn't, too late. So you sign into wherever there is a free spot, and you go there, you park there, you walk in there, you sit down, you hunt. When you're done, you have to go back to the ranger's office. So you get out of the woods, you go back to the ranger's office, and you sign out. And if you don't sign in or you don't sign out, they will catch you and you will be banned for the next 5 years from hunting on that property. Yeah. So it's a little inconvenient to have to drive literally 3 more miles around to the other side of this place just to sign in, 3 more miles to go back, go in the woods, get out of the woods, drive 3 more miles back, sign out, drive 3 more miles back towards home, go home. But it's a necessary evil to make sure that everybody has a fair shot at being able to hunt in the woods. No unfair advantage. Let's go see what that looks like. Okay, guys, we're at the Shabanaw Ranger's office. Shabanaw Lake State Park. It's just an old farmhouse sitting on the south side. This is the south road, east-west. So we're on the south side. This is all of Shabanaw Lake Forest Preserve on this side. The northeast corner I need to go to is way over there. I have to drive back. And it's all about going up into the ranger's office here, looking to see. Sign-in begins at 5 a.m. You can't get in any quicker. The daily quota of 3 hunters will be determined on a first-come, first-served basis. Eligible hunters may be accompanied by 1 hunting partner. You can have somebody along with you. They tell us CWD, chronic wasting disease, is required at our site. If you harvest a deer, you have 48 hours to submit the head to our site or a participating test site. What do they mean by that? See that bucket over here, or that 50-gallon drum? You have to literally cut. What do I mean by that? It means you have to literally cut the head off your deer, and you have to put it in here. Lift this up, drop the head off in a bag with a tag on it, so that it's clearly identified that it was harvested here. And they're going to go and open the skull up, get the brain out, sample the brain, and see if there's chronic wasting disease. It's very, very prevalent to the north of us in Wisconsin, and it's finding its way down south. We need to nip it in the bud. It is a hugely destructive illness that everybody has to participate in trying to control and contain. Deer registration, stop here. That's if it's 5 a.m. It's not unusual on the weekend, guys. There'll be 20 cars here lined up from 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get in on the weekend, which is why I don't even know if that white car is even hunting. That's probably somebody that works here. I'm the only one hunting today. Let's go in and see what this looks like. Again, we're reading. Trapper drawing, welcome to Shabanaw. You can scan for all kinds of details. But what we care about is just this one spot. Sign-in starts at 5 a.m. And here it is, Shabanaw Lake, October 5th. There are 4 people that are, let's see. 1 person signed, 4 people signed in, but this guy is already signed out. He's 4 or 5 hours hunting, 4 hours hunting, 8 hours hunting. There's only 1 guy left in the woods right now. I'm the 5th one today. You need your tags, because your tag has a permit number on there. You need to fill in your name, your hometown, your phone number, your vehicle license plate, your permit. Oh, shoot, it stopped. When you come in here to fill in the ranger's office, you end up being able to say, here's parking lot A, B, C. Here's lot E, here's C, D, F. And we have a map here that breaks them up into all of the different zones, so you know which one you want. I want parking lot A and B. Hey. So let's go fill it in. We have to fill in a name, a hometown, a phone number, a vehicle license plate, a permit number, and that's it for getting into the woods. This is only when you come out of the woods. If you saw anything or harvested anything, and how long were you were in the woods. Okay, I was telling you, we got the first name, already got that. Hometown, got that. Phone number, got that. License plate off the Jeep, got that. My permit number, I'm pretty sure is my customer ID number with the DNR. So we put that number in and we are ready to go. We signed up for lot A, B, and C. which is along the south. Actually, here it is. This is the ranger station. So there's a lot A, lot B, and lot C. I get my choice of lot A and B. You'll see that I'm on the east side of the lake. This is where the soybeans were. This is where the corn is on the other side of the farmer's field. I think they like, what I've seen is they like to migrate back and forth here. They go into the woods here for starch, for fat. They go into here for the soybeans. They go actually down here. There was all kinds of light grass. So they go in there to nibble on the brand new winter wheat that's being grown right there. They come back across here to get water. And I've also seen that when I lay up, I'm going to lay up right along here somewhere. This is where I'm going to take a trail that goes around this little piece of farmland, goes down inside here, and I'm going to tuck myself away. And I will hear the deer moving.
Do you have questions?
No. Talking on film for our YouTube channel.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're cool. The deer like to move in and out this way, but also turkeys come past me all the time this way. I never noticed it until last year. So if I stay really quiet, there'll be deer going back and forth. And I even had a couple of what I was convinced were wolves come within 40 yards of me, two of them at least last year. So very interesting. This is a great place to be. Let's go check it out and see what I actually bring into the woods on a day like today. Turning back, this is the southeast corner of the property. Most of that is Shabana. This is that brand new sprouts that I said were starting to grow. Somebody's planting winter, looks like winter wheat. I don't know what else. I never paid attention to it before, but there looks like there's clover over here. There's something else being planted there. Doesn't look like corn, doesn't look like soybeans really. The only thing that people plant in the fall to harvest in the spring would be wheat. I can't think of anything else. All I know is they like those little tender shoots. So when I'm leaving at night and it's dark out by the time I get to the ranger station again, I see when my headlights cut across there, I see all kinds of eyes light up. They hang out on this side. You know, this is where they come frolicking. And then they go back across for the water. And it's just constantly going back and forth. And I'm hoping to be in the right place at the right time this year. I had a number of 2 and 4 point bucks come by me within 40 yards of, and I'm on the ground this year. The last couple seasons, guys, I'm actually on the ground. I found a way to get deer to come in close. The cheap camouflage setup that I've got, you can replicate this. You can literally go sit in a little tripod chair up against a tree and you will become, for all intents and purposes, invisible. I had does coming in within 15 yards of me last year. I scared one off. Go look at my videos. I took a shot at its foot just to scare it off. I didn't want it around. But you'll see, this works. And boy, does that make hunting fun when you're not sweating like a pig, trying to get up in a tree, trying to carry a bunch of equipment. It's what looks like a bedroll that I'm carrying in with me. Oh, this guy's got soybeans this year. He switched. Last year, this was all corn. But they do crop rotation because corn takes stuff out of the grounds. Enzymes that the soybeans replace. So now he's got soybeans in here. Makes it a little bit easier to see any deer coming across, whether they're coming or going. That's where I'm headed in, guys. Now I'm headed west at that little notch in the north, in like the east corner of Shabana Lake State Forest Preserve. Blue sky coming at me. That's coming out of the west, so that's the weather that's coming towards me. And I'm headed in here. I'm going to check and make sure there's no cars coming. I'm the only one here. That's fantastic. We're going to head down there. Do you see the field? That's what I'm going to be walking around. I'm going to talk a little bit here, but then I'm going to start to get really quiet. Let me get my gear out. I'll show you what we've got to go into the woods with. Okay, we're going to use my Jeep as a bit of a mirror, but you're seeing regular boots down below. That's all I got. No socks. It's hot out there. You're going to get really, really hot if you start bulking up. It's 69 degrees outside. By the time I get over in that field, I'll be sweating like a pig even with what little I have on. I got regular black shorts on. I got a regular short sleeve black shirt on because everything's going to get covered up by this and by like a camel blanket that I wrap around my waist, so it doesn't matter what this looks like. I just need to go get into the woods. The deer mostly aren't going to start moving until close to twilight, and it's about 1:30 right now in the afternoon. It's going to take me till about 2 o'clock to get situated. From 2 until 5, it's going to be actually pretty boring. I'm going to probably take a nap like that. And then right around 5 o'clock until 6:30, going on 7, that's when you're going to start hear movement. That's when things are going to start happening. By that time, I want to be invisible. I'll be under a tree in my gear, very lightweight. I'll be completely camouflaged against the tree. It'll be hard to find me with that in this kind of tree, with that kind of background. Yeah, that's going to blend in very nicely. Then it's just a question of becoming invisible from about 2 o'clock until 5. They're going to know that I'm in there for a little bit, but the deer I'm looking for, they're already a half a mile away from here, a mile away. They're not going to reach me till 5 o'clock. I'm not trying to sneak up and hunt the deer that are in the woods right now. Let them go run off if I come. Who cares? I'm trying to become invisible for the ones that start coming back from the lake or going to the lake around 5 o'clock, between 5 and 6:30. That's what I'm after. And then you're going to see me geared up. So here goes. Okay, guys, this is it. See my camo? It's come complete with a hood. So this, that, right here, that covers up the majority of my face. Also is a great wind stop on the back of your neck, keep you warm up against a tree. The loose leaf breaks up my profile, so you cannot see. The deer do not register me as a human, even when I'm standing next to a tree. This outfit is amazing. It's also got tons of pockets. It's got a pocket on the inside, on both sides. It's got a top pocket on this side and on this side. It's got a sideways pocket on this side and on the other side. So I can literally carry everything in this jacket. What's everything? It's my bow, my arm guard, my finger tap that I put on my hand, and that's the only camo that I use on my bowstring hand. I have a glove that I use to hold the bow with. I have a blanket, and inside that blanket roll is the loose leaf type of blanket that goes there too. Those are my 3 arrows that sit on a separate quiver. That's all that I get. Inside there is a tripod chair that I sit on. I have water, I have food, and I'll take those out of the wrapper and put them inside my pocket so they don't make any noise. Right now, they make too much noise. I have 2 different knives. Both of them cost less than $10. This one came from Walmart. This I consider to be the most perfect field dressing knife there is. It's not pointy. You can put your thumb in there. You can go by feel inside the body of the deer and cut. You have lots of blade for cutting from the outside in, and you have lots of blade for cutting around the organ cavity, and then it's small enough to get up inside the esophagus of the deer to make the final cut of the trachea and bring it back down. And that, I think that costs like $8 at Walmart. Best knife I have ever come across. This is my what if knife in case I need it. Can also be used to do field dressing in a pinch, but it's a little too sharp here, guys. I wouldn't want to do that, but I carry it along just to have a backup. I've got a rangefinder that I use to rangefind the trees. I've got gloves for field dressing. Don't be stupid. I got a little bit of rope, and I've got a light. That is it. That is it. That is all you need to be able to successfully barebow bow hunt for a deer. I'll be in a ground blind, sitting up against a big tree, becoming invisible because of this, and just sitting quietly and minding my own business. And the deer will come by me. You'll see that over the season. Might not be today. Might be next week. Might be the week thereafter. Might be when the rut starts, which might be way into November this year, guys. Way into November before it gets cold enough to trigger the rut. Doesn't matter when. They will come. This does work. I'm going to go walk along the trail. If I see anything interesting, I'll call it out. Otherwise, I'm going to get started. Okay, here I am, as open as possible. Everything packed inside my pockets that you see here. I've got my bow strung, and the only last thing I'm going to do before I head into the woods is take one arrow out, knock it, And I'm going to pull on that bowstring and get those muscles warmed up. You've been working all week. You haven't been shooting. When you start sitting down, you're not going to get much time to actually practice. But once about every 15 minutes, you really should be standing up, drawing that bow, holding it, practice aiming at different things, getting yourself ready, because it's all too easy to get stiff. And then when the shot happens, when the moment arrives, you're not ready for it. There could very well be something right around the corner here as I go around. So I'm going in the woods with an arrow knocked, ready to draw back. I'm going to be at a 3-finger gap, ready to draw back and take a shot, because if I get surprised by a deer, there's a very real chance he's going to be between 15 and 25 yards away from me, and a 3-finger gap is going to hit him if I aim center of mass as quickly as I can and let the shot fly. If I end up being a little too close, I'll be a little high of center of mass. If I'm too far away, I'll be a little bit lower than center of mass. If I'm right at 15 yards, 15 to 20, it'll be a heart shot, but it will get the deer. And I don't have to think about it. It's just 3 fingers, draw back, bam, go. As close to instinctive shooting as you could possibly get. We're still having the accuracy of putting the tip of the arrow right on the center of mass of the deer. Let's get in. Oh, by the way, I've already gone to do not disturb on my phone. No ringing, no vibrating. Okay, so here's what I look like. Shorts, jacket, bow knocked, ready to go. And I'm walking down this cornfield, cutting to the south, going into the trees over there. That's it. You gotta stay cool right now. If you get hot right now, you're gonna be miserable for the next 4 hours. That's not useful. Let's go see what we can see down here. Take your time getting into the stand, getting where you want to go. Take your time. This is part of hunting. You don't know where the deer is gonna show up. You really don't. Not unless you've been feeding them all summer. Otherwise, you're listening. That's what I'm gonna do next. Okay, here's the first place we're stopping. We're not even 100 yards away from where I was. But we're looking here at this acorn area. There's oak trees that dropped acorns right now. We're trying to understand what's been eating them. We can see that there's places where acorns have been dug up. The question is it being dug up by a deer or is it being dug up by a squirrel? Why do we ask that? Well, we want to understand what's going on. We want to understand if this trail is being used by the deer. So I'm going to be looking for any signs. Remember I told you it rained earlier. So I'm looking for signs that the deer are using these trails instead of going through the woods. And if I hear a train whistle like you hear in the background, I'm going to use that to mask my movements. If you think you're about to walk in an area that makes noise, like that, wait till you hear the train whistle and then walk. Whatever works. I got to figure out how to get into over by the cornfield though. So I'm also looking to see if there's any trails that go in there. Trails that show the deer are actually going into the cornfield too. I might try another route in. There's another way back that I've never gone before. It's over there and goes way that way. It might get me into those woods even faster. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go today. I'm only about 200 yards into the woods. I found a trail I've never noticed before. It leads up to another trail that's right over there that I am familiar with, that represents the corner of a cornfield. And normally I would follow that and go even further into the woods acorns dropping all the time. But I see what looks like a deer path right there. So they might be coming right out of those woods like this. And the idea is that I'm going to keep my back to that tree. I'm going to let them walk by. Then I'm going to stand up, draw on them, and shoot at a quartering away deer as they're walking right through here. It looks like there's a lot of trees in my way. But the trees, no, that's really mostly just air. There's all kinds of shots that I could shoot through here. And I like that there's not much foliage. There's not many brambles or anything right here. So for our first day hunting, I'm going to give this brand new spot a try. I know for a fact that the lake is only about 200 yards over there. 200 yards is a minute, 1 minute for a deer, which means they could be close by. And there's a lot of acorns dropping. If there's a lot of acorns dropping here, these are all pin oaks. Do you see those leaves? Those are all pin oaks. If there's a lot of acorns dropping here, then this is where the food supply is, that they only get that taste a little bit of the year, just for a few weeks, while those things are sitting on the ground and the deer know it. They know they're competing with the squirrels, with the raccoons and everything else that eats acorns. So they may actually show up here instead of the corn, instead of the soybeans, because this is a very temporary food supply, a delicacy. Let's go get situated over there and then get quiet. What I'm about to do next, it might seem controversial to some hunters, but I'm going to set my little triangular chair up right here, my tripod, which means all of this stuff right here, that has to get cleared away, and it's going to make noise to do that. But right now, this is not my friend. Right now, if I step on this, to stand up to turn, it's going to make noise, and I don't want noise. This little bush right here, this is my friend. This tree masks where I am. That is my friend. All of these trees, that's the trail I want to set up to try to be able to shoot a trail coming in here, a trail coming right there, those two paths. This is all potentially prime real estate, a 20-meter shot in every single direction, and a very high likelihood that the deer are going to come through here, because this is where the acorns are. But right here, right now, I got to clear these leaves out, make some noise. And I'm okay with doing that because I'm not trying to shoot the deer that are within earshot right now. The deer I want are a half a mile to a mile away. They're on their way here, and by the time they get here, it's going to be quiet. You don't have to make a ton of noise. That's all you have to do, guys. You gotta get all of this out of the way. Find a level spot for your tripod. I've got to cut this bramble out. That's a little thorns. I don't want them. I'll trim this bush back a little bit. But that's it. Let me show you when I'm done. Another tip. You saw me bring 2 knives into the woods. One of them I told you was my field dressing knife. This one, you do not cut brush with this. This is a single-purpose knife. It needs to be surgically sharp like a scalpel. That's what's going to make field dressing go easy or go hard. Is what you do with this, so you don't use it to cut things like bushes and brambles. That's where you use your utility knife instead. This is the hard work cross-purpose knife. Does all this other stuff. Alright, I just untied my roll. Let's see what's in this. I haven't opened it up since last year. What's inside here is a very simple 3-legged stool and a loose leaf camouflage blanket. Today against here. Alright guys, I'm all set up and here's what I look like. I'm invisible up against a tree. And I'm not looking this way, I'm listening this way. Remember, I'm not going to touch the deer until he's over here, which means he's already looking away from me. He's quartering away. They might come out this way, and then I'm in a bit of a predicament, but I'm not expecting them to come that way. I'm expecting them to come this way, and I'm hidden behind this bush. And for all intents and purposes, I'm invisible. And it's just going to get better. I'll know I'm truly invisible when that little squirrel right up there stops chattering. He's already given up. As soon as I put my mask on, I wasn't registering as a human anymore, and he already quieted down. That's how fast this works. Time to be quiet and listen. In case you still haven't figured it out. You spend about 95% of your time doing this. It's not that you're sleeping, it's that your eyes are closed so your ears are open, because you're going to hear the deer coming a long time before you see them. If you see them, it's probably too late, but you're going to hear them and you're not going to see them. But if you can't see them, it almost is guaranteed they can't see you either. So as long as you stay quiet, you have the advantage, because they don't know you're here, and you absolutely know that they are here. So your advantage is your silence, not anything else. Just blend in. Try to listen for where it's coming. You might hear hoof prints, you might hear pawing, you might hear one little twig that breaks. That's different than the sound a squirrel makes rattling through some leaves. That's not going to be a deer. Stuff that's up in the tree, not a deer. You're going to hear cracking of wood, because even deer step on dry twigs and the twigs go crack. That's what you're listening for. You might also hear turkey sounds right about this time of year, but not for another 2 hours. So I'm going to go and listen. It's 4:15. The sun is starting to hit the tops of the trees and work its way down. It's sunset at 6:30 here. If you look through all the trees way over there, you'll see sparkles. Let me move around to see the little sparkles. That's water. That's the lake. That's the lake to the west. If the deer are bedding down there, somewhere they're going to start to move pretty soon. In the next 2 hours, they're either going to start wandering over towards the lake, or they're already there and they're going to start wandering back from the lake, and they're going to start heading into the fields that are over here for a little snack. Could be either way. What I'll be listening to is for the sound of breaking branches. There's only 2 reasons branches break. 1, the wind blows and they break off the top of the tree and come down, crash. 2, something steps on them. And the only thing that steps on them that's big enough to break the branch is a deer. So I'm not going to be looking. I'm sure I'll be looking for motion going all right. But where I'll be looking is going to depend on what I hear. I'll be really straining my ears in every direction. Not staring in any one direction, but listening in all directions until I finally find a reason to start staring in one direction, because I hear something breaking repeatedly, and something that sounds like it's happening at ground level, not up in the trees. So listening for branches is probably your best bet. The next 2 hours are when you really start to be alert. I can close my eyes, but I'll be listening. Here's something else I want to show you, just how invisible my legs look compared to the tree. No shape of a human being at all. A deer could be staring right at me right now, and I just would not register as anything except a tree. I've even been able to draw on a deer. Literally pick up my arrow and point right at him and slowly draw back, even while they were looking straight at me. That's how invisible I am. My problem, Ben, all last year, it was always does that were looking at me. I don't want them. Time to stretch my arms and draw a little bit. Hold that draw. Okay, it's about 6 o'clock, 30 minutes until sunset. I had birds coming in right there, only 6 feet away, and I was standing up. That's what I mean when I say these loose leaf suits like this. You're freaking invisible, and they don't care about scent. It didn't bother them at all. 6 feet away, a little. There's about 7 different things in the woods right now. The squirrels are coming in all around me, harvesting the nuts, the acorns that are falling. We've got crows. We've got blue jays. We've got owls starting to come in. We've got woodpeckers. And there was some kind of meowing that I heard right off that way, about 50 yards. Meowing. Who knows? I couldn't place it. I couldn't tell you what it was. It just sounded feline. Go figure. It's the next 35 to 45 minutes. This is when it gets the darkest, but this is when they start to move. This is when you have to keep your eyes peeled. Your bow stays upright. You move very slowly. You can rotate, but try not to move fast horizontally. That's what gets picked up. Move everything slow. It's okay to face the target and literally draw on them. It's like they don't know what that is. They just stand there. It doesn't bother them. It doesn't register. So I'm watching to see if they're coming in from over this way. But, I mean, they literally could just crawl up on my back, too. This is where the 2 trails actually come together. From this side and the farmland. From this side and the lake. And then it goes south that way across the edge of the rest of the cornfield. But they could literally come in from any direction. So when I stand, I'm going to stand right next to a tree. I want a tree in front of me. I want a tree behind me. Something that they focus on, not me. And as long as they see leaves, they'll just think that I'm a tree. Putting the phone down. Something just got killed over here. Something just got caught. Either a coyote's out there and he caught something. I heard it. I heard it squeal and die. Or a hawk came down and hit something. Something died over here. Maybe a rabbit, maybe a squirrel, but something died. And the crows went crazy. I couldn't film it fast enough, but it really shook the crows up over there. So the predators are out. Again, I couldn't tell you what it was. If it was a raptor that came down and hit something, or if it's something on the ground, but something the size of a rabbit made kind of a gurgling sound. Like it just got its throat broken. It's always this time of night. Let's hope the deer start moving. I just saw a tail right over in that little edge right through that clearing out there. He was walking over to the left. doesn't know I'm here, but he's not walking towards me either. He hasn't come back yet, but now you have a choice. You either go after him, and I'm going to be stepping from a good shot into a zero shot, no shot, just to get closer to him. He's going to get spooked and he's never coming back. Or you make him feel safe. You sit down, you shut up, you make him feel safe. He wanted to come through here. He wanted to come from there, down through here. He wanted to. I have to make him feel at ease. Right now he's sitting on the other side, out on that trail I came in on, that cheap trail. And he's kind of chewing grass probably and wondering whether or not he should go. And he smells my scent maybe a little, and he's a little hesitant. But if I do nothing, then there's a real good chance he's coming back again tomorrow night, same place. And he'll still smell the scent, only now he won't be worried because nothing bad happened. That's what I have to do. I have to be willing to wait. It's 6:30. It's sunset. I have 15 minutes for something to happen. And I hear stuff all around me. Over here, like they're coming down the trail. If I stay quiet, I might get a shot, but I'm going to be field dressing that deer in the dark. Something's falling over there. And there's something over there. I picked a good place on the first day. I'm going to come back here. It's 6:40. It's so dark, it's really hard to judge distances, much less put a tip on the center mass. It's just too dark. The camera is showing it way lighter than it really is. Now comes the scariest 5 minutes. I've got to try to wrap everything up and get it on my back and hope a deer doesn't come by while I'm in the middle of all of that. And then I need to start going back down this trail because it's this little light spot right here. That's right there. That's where the deer walk by. And I want to see if it pooped or did anything. It might still be out there for all I know. I'm back out at the junction where I left the trail. I was down in there for the last 3 hours. This is the trail that goes back to the cornfield and the Jeep. This is on the edge of the property. It was something right here that was walking kind of, it must have been walking like across like that I could see it through a little opening in the foliage. I saw the tail walk by. Unmistakable. It had to have been fairly large to see it opening like that. There's a few things you just know even at a glance. I couldn't tell you it was a buck or not. It just was not small. And it wasn't scared. It was just walking. So as far as it knows, I'm not here. I'm coming back in the same place. Deer are creatures of habit. If you don't give them a reason to change, they're not going to change their habit. There still might be something down here, so I'm putting the phone away until I get back to the Jeep. It's about 300 yards that way. Here's another dip. When I was out in the woods there, tucked away in the deep dark forest, my typical shot was going to be a 20-meter shot. It was a 3-finger gap. So I was walking around with 3 fingers on my bowstring. I already had the gap set. Shit. But now I'm walking down a trail where it's probably more typical that my shot's going to be 40 yards. I'm going to set a 2-finger gap as I start to walk. And then I'm going to try to wait. If I get a 40-yard shot, a 40-meter shot, then I'll take it. But at least I'll have the gap already set, expecting it. Not expecting a 20-meter shot. It's not going to happen. I gotta focus. I just heard a huge racket that scared me. But it's a raccoon going up the tree. I got within 10 yards of him before. That's how much I spooked him. Down the end of the deers are out. This might be my last shot if a deer's out on the edge of the cornfield, so I'm turning the camera off. The Jeep is right down there. But if I turn the corner here, there's a whole aisle there that might have deer sitting there nibbling on grass that looks like this. So I'm going to very carefully sneak around that corner right there. Bow at the ready in case there's anything just happens to be standing there. This is my best shot at sneaking up because I've got all this corn to hide me. And I've got soft grass, no leaves, so it's covering all of my footfalls. Now I can cough. Alright, that's it for day one. I'm coming into the parking lot where when I started off this afternoon, about 1:30, I was the only car. But if we look here now, we see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five vehicles, not just me. Everybody got in the afternoon, but I didn't see anybody else tromping in my area, so I'm going to stay there. There's every reason to stay. Let everybody have their other spot. Don't go stepping on somebody else's, not turf, but let them work their little patch that they picked. There's deer all over the place, especially where I was. So let's see about tomorrow. That's it, we're just packing everything up now. Last tip of the night, everything that I have hunting goes in one of the pockets in this jacket. Nothing is stray, nothing is laying around in the Jeep except for the bow and an arrow. That is it. Otherwise, everything goes in one of the 4 or 5 or 6 pockets here. So all I have to do is zip those pockets closed, put it back in the Jeep, and I know for a fact I am totally equipped for tomorrow. Nothing, oh, I left it in the Jeep, oh, I left it on the table, oh, I left it in my shorts pocket. Nope. Everything goes inside the jacket that you're taking in the woods. It becomes your backpack. That's the smartest way to do this. Because a lot of times, you're not thinking clearly when you go in. You're not thinking clearly when you come out. If you just make that a habit, you'll never lose anything. There's my last tip of the night. Now you can see how dark it really is. If you got the headlights on, there's only one thing left to do, everybody, and that is we got to go sign out. So we got to drive all the way around. I'm on the northeast corner. I got to drive all the way around to the middle of the south corner to the ranger's office, and I have to sign out and say if I got any deer. I don't know, we'll have to see if it says did you see any or not. But there's turkey, there's deer, and there's something else that you keep track of. And while we're going across the fields here, I'm going to hope that I'm going to turn my high beams on and we're going to scan across and just see if some eyeballs show up. Because I did see one tail. That's all I could tell you. I saw a tail. I didn't see 2 or 3. So there'd be every reason to think that that was a buck. Why? Most does are probably carrying fawns right now. It might be a fawn, but a fawn's not going to be all by itself, and it was too small for the how tall the patch of the opening in the foliage was. It had to have been a taller animal, slightly higher. Hold on. All right, we just went through the soybeans, and I'm not expecting them to be there. I'm expecting that they want delicacies. They're not starting to bulk up. They're not starting to fatten up yet. They want the tiny little green grass that we saw growing over on the corner, the southeast corner of Shabana. That's probably where they're going to be. And a lot of times they're just crossing the road back and forth here because this is where a few people have some non-farm properties right on the east edge of Shabana Lake Forest Preserve. So they've got grass, and the deer like to go in there and just nibble on the grass all night. You'll see them if you came to hunt in the morning, you'd see them walking back and forth. All the does with their fawns, This is where they hang out before they go back into the woods at the crack of dawn. Now let's see if we see anything out here. Nothing yet. Odd. It's such a warm night, 62 degrees. The stuff that I wore was exactly perfect. Shorts and everything, I was very comfortable. The bugs, that leaf thing that I have wrapped around my waist, guys, is actually a poncho. I'll send you the link to it. It's a poncho and a mask. It's a poncho with a hood, and it's loose leaf, and it's a netting kind of material. It's not solid. It won't repel rain. It's not that kind of poncho, but it does drape over everything you got. That also makes it a really nice, like, wrap around your waist, like a bath towel for a shower, and that's what covers your legs up, so the deer can't register you as a human being, and that's what it's all about. You want them to not register you as a predator. It's like this guy was out on his own piece of property hunting. I heard all kinds of shots over here tonight. Bam, 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 bam. So if you're shooting that many loads, you're shooting a semi-automatic rifle, maybe a pistol. You're shooting a pistol. It sounded a little low for that, but it shot like he was shooting 10 to 15 shots at a time. That's a pistol clip and a 30 or 45 caliber automatic weapon. It was more than 6, so it's not a revolver. Somebody was making a ruckus over here, which works to my advantage because it drives the deer that way, which is where I was. I'm talking too much. This is what it looks like when you're coming in, guys. That's the ranger's house on the south side. It's always going to be dark. You might be the only one. 2 or 3 other guys might show up about the time it takes you to sign out. Everybody's going to come in here and say, "Did you see anything? See anything?" And a few guys, if you saw something, it all depends on what you think the other guy's intentions are. If he's asking you because then tomorrow he's going to go and steal your spot and get the deer that you saw and be a dick about it, then you're going to be kind of taciturn. You're not going to tell him. But if he's just honest, and a lot of guys are, they're just sincere. They're going to stay where they are. They just want to know if you had any luck, if you saw anything. Then you'll share with them. And I'll tell them. There's a couple of guys I might see here that I see every year. They'll say, "Hey, what'd you see?" And I'll say, "Well, I saw a tail over on that trail over by the lake. Couldn't tell you what it was. I just saw the tail go by through a hole in the bushes, but it was indisputable." Anyway, let's go up here and sign out. And then we get to eat Casey's Pizza on the way home. Always something to look forward to. Let's go see how everybody else did. It's always lonely here. Wow, look at this. From the time I signed in around 1:30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more guys came in. And now I'm going to put in, it's about 2 o'clock to 6:30, 4, we'll say 5 hours. And they're saying, "Did you harvest any turkeys? Did you harvest any deer? What was the sex?" And it's going to be 0, 0, and 0. That's it. And now you did your very first day of hunting. Rinse, repeat, until one day when you least expect it, a deer trots by, not 30 yards away through a little hole in the bushes, which gets your heart racing, but you can't take the shot. Instead, that deer tomorrow or next week sometime when I come back out, that deer might actually walk right down that trail, right where I was expecting him to go. That he came up to the edge of that trail, he hesitated for whatever reason. He might have just not felt like it, and he turned and he started walking away, and that's what I saw. Tomorrow, or the next time, he might walk right down that trail, right past that 18-meter tree. I'll have a 3-finger gap, bam, nail him. And then I'll say I deserved that deer, because I did everything you were supposed to do ethically and fairly to take that deer. No cheating with cameras, no feeding with corn, no feeding them all summer, no over spying on them or anything like that. Just honest sharing public land like that. That's it. I'm done.